Please welcome your chairman and ASEA founder, Tyler Norton.
Let's hear it for those drummers. Wasn't that awesome? Oh my goodness. Thank you to the band. Let's hear it for the band. Excellent. Welcome to our convention. Are you excited? DJ Rancan did his job well. DJ, we're happy to have you back.
It feels good to be back.
Thanks for making us feel younger.
You look great, Ty.
It feels good. It feels good. What a joy to be here with all of you. Our friends from Asia are here. Thank you. Xie. Thank you so much. How about Australia, New Zealand, Samoa? Wonderful to have you. How about folks from Europe? Hey, thank you for being here. Anyone Mexico? La Bella Tierra de Mexico. How about Canada? We've got some Canada here. Representing. How about the U.S.? Did I miss anywhere? Oh, Texas, its own country. Sorry. How about Texas? Well, what a treat. Howdy, y'all. I love being in Texas. Howdy, y'all. Everything's bigger in Texas. It's great to be here. It's great to be gathered again. We've had a wonderful, wonderful experience last night with our Diamond leaders. Thank you so much for that. And now we get to gather here together. You know, we have a commitment to this promise, and I really want you to stare at this for a minute. The idea that we have the ability, through our products and through our opportunity, to power potential in others. We know that this represents both our products as well as this beautiful ethos and culture we have. We have the ability to power potential in each other. The whole essence of this event is really built around this promise. But if you will, I'd like to just do one small change to it, if you'll watch the screen. I want to start by focusing on we. You see, I'm concerned that in the world that we live in, this simple phrase or word is being lost. And if you paid attention to the videos that you just saw, there's some beautiful metaphors. And I want to get into those a little bit with you to get you into the mindset of we. Do me a favor to start. Reach out and touch somebody that's close to you, even if you don't know them. This is a we moment. Feels good, right? Tell them you love them. That's good. In those moments, when you realize you are not here alone, but you are here together, something very powerful can happen. In the opener of the video, if you watched, we had gone to a studio and placed metronomes on a freestanding board. What do you notice under this image, under the board? There's cans under the board, which signals the ability for that platform to move. When a platform that individual things, in this case metronomes, are set on, can move freely, what happens is over time they will synchronize. I want you to think about this for a minute. There was a Dutch physicist in the mid-17th century who developed and patented the pendulum clock. The pendulum clock, which is essentially the same technology that underscores a metronome, really stood for 300 years as the most accurate clocks in the world. As he was testing this, He allowed them to be suspended from a similar line, in this case a cable. And as time went on, these two clocks, in his words, sympathized with each other. And the theory is that that sympathy, that was his word, the sympathy of the pendulums over time created synchronicity. The physics of this are simply this. When we are on a common platform and that movement is consistent, we will become one. I love the idea of synchronicity. How many of us are existing and not living each moment? And if we will be in the moment and allow that moment and living in that moment to awaken us to a life of wonder, we will synchronize. We will begin to understand that simple two-letter word of we. What do you see here? You see movement. Yet again, another evidence of movement. This is synchronicity. This statement is true by Ann Rule. There is an odd synchronicity. Tell me how many of you in this room understand this as professional networkers. There's an odd synchronicity in the way parallel lives veer to touch one another, and then maybe change direction, and then come close again, and even again, until they connect and hold for whatever it was that fate intended to happen. I hear stories of you in this room who had reached out one to another, perhaps met each other at other endeavors or other companies. Consistent reaching out caused lives to veer and come together. It was spoken of in great length last night in our diamond dinner. People that were expressing gratitude for the synchronicity of lives coming together that perhaps had been separated for a time. In the video we showed, you saw this. When you see a group of fish like this, what do you call it? Well, we're in a school, trust me. We're here to learn from each other. And this simple image bespeaks 1,000 principles. Fish of 1,000,000 different kinds, and in some instances, 1,000,000 of one kind, come together. Their sensory awareness of one another is so quick that they can move away from a predator immediately. They can also move collectively to an opportunity. Their ability to synchronize those movements towards common goals is a principle that is very, very powerful. And as we know from the great Greek fabulist ASEA, in union there is strength. This is what we is. It's coming together. The world is trying to divide you and I. It's trying to introduce differences and teach us that we do not belong to each other. Nothing could be further from the truth. Jerry Yerke created a beautiful opportunity for me to meet an author of one of my favorite books recently. He may speak about this at convention. This gentleman is named Kevin Hall. He's written a book called Aspire. Kevin came to the ASEA offices and sat down in my office with Jerry. Jerry, I'm thankful for that experience. And he was telling me that he's writing a book on abundance. And he said, did you ever notice that the letter W in we has arms stretched heavenward and open? Did you ever notice that me turns that upside down and closes? Think about the idea of closing off. In the opening video, you saw this. Anyone know what this is? Anyone know the technical term for this? This is called a murmuration. A murmuration of European starlings. Have you ever seen one of these? Isn't it the most amazing thing to watch a flock of starlings move together in this clear unison that feels yet not ordered, nor is it being led? Scientists for years have tried to figure out, how does this happen? Some of the things they've seen and understood, and by the way, birds will fly miles to join this. Are you seeing the principle? How many of you came miles to this murmuration? You see it? Birds will fly miles to come together and participate in this, Now, clearly, the original thought was this is to form a mass that would reduce exposure to predators. And to be sure, that is true. But they have learned there's much more happening here. There's a social element to it, and always a movement. Is it possible that one single starling can respond to 2,000 moving? The answer is no. Researchers have found that these simple and beautiful movements actually are simply one bird paying attention to 7 others. That's it. Can you see the principle tied there? Can you build a team of 7 others with heightened sensitivity to each other's movement? That movement is not predictable by any stretch. Scientists are trying to put mathematical models to understand it, and they're fascinated by it. How could such individual things engage in such a collective behavior and create such beautiful movement? Is that a question we could ask ourselves? How could such individual human beings engage in a seemingly organistic approach? In fact, they believe schools of fish and these birds become a superorganism. I believe we are. That superorganism creates a sensory capacity of its own beyond any individual bird or fish. Meaning what? We become one. Our sensory capacity to the needs of this world are amplified and expressed in ways beyond anyone's capacity to imagine. But we must understand this. We are not alone, and I and me and the abuse of the possessive pronoun mine must be diminished. And us and we and ours must be elevated. Alone, we can do so very little. Together, we can do so very much. In the opening video, you might have recognized this. This is a swarm or a hive of bees, in this case, giant honeybees. You want to go on a beautiful metaphorical journey? Go study the behavior of bees. In the middle of this, you might see kind of a darkened stripe. That represents what's called a shimmer. We might call this in a stadium of football participants a wave. Large honeybees like this will not have an internal hive. They will collect on an external honeycomb. And as such, they're exposed. And somehow these beautiful individual players, when they sense danger, will immediately band together and they will shimmer and wave in response. Now, I think they also are teaching us a lesson in a lot of ways. Where's my friend Trish? Is Trish here? Yay, Trish. Trish, you know what I learned? Honeybees have a dance called a waggle dance. Can you just stand up? Can we put a light on Trish? I want to see Trish's waggle dance. Okay. Early this morning, I was thinking of Trish's waggle dance. Let me explain this to you. A honeybee that finds a beautiful place to forage nectar and pollen literally will come back to the hive and do a waggle dance. That waggle dance will determine, believe this or not, this is true, the location, the distance, the quality, and the quantity of the sweet stuff that we call nectar. Will return to the hive and do the waggle dance. That waggle dance will tell others, this is where you need to go. Want to learn something else amazing? Younger bees only learn how to do that. Listen to me carefully. They can fly kilometers, plural, to find this. And that simple dance communicates where the nectar is, how far to fly to get it in relation to the sun, and they go and find it. Those young bees then come back and learn how to waggle dance for those that don't know yet. What does that sound like to you? That sounds like us. And Trish, being chief waggle dancer, has taught a lot of people where the nectar is. So coming together is a beginning. Staying together is progress. Many of the leaders in this room and many of the executives in this room have stayed together through thick and thin. For that, I'm very grateful. Thank you. But working together is success. Who knows what this image is? This is called a paddle out, and this was in Lahaina. What a terrible tragedy happened in Lahaina recently. What a beautiful town and city that was. But the people in Lahaina gathered together, and just like these images of collective behavior, born of a common goal and belief, they paddled out into the ocean to honor those they had lost and to express a belief that by pouring their ashes into the ocean and laying flowers on the ocean, and then reaching down on their paddleboard and splashing water up, they were releasing their loved ones back to the world they came from in an expression of honor and love and respect. I'm pleased to tell you that we made a donation to the Maui Food Bank for these beautiful people. One of the survivors said, "When we gather in unity on the water, the world watches a community's heartbeat as one." Now, can you see why I'm shrinking this promise down to one word to start? My dad and I have been so blessed, and our entire family, to have a we experience for so many years. I love him. I miss him at these events. Do you? When we talk about the concept of we, it means this. It means we're a partnership. We're a team. We're a family or a tribe or a community. And when you use the words we or us, you're actually automatically connecting your goals and your values as well as your intentions to other people who you feel confident are aligned with you. They've studied this. They went out and did a study of over 5,000 participants, 30 unique and distinct studies. Here's what they found. Couples who often say we and us have more successful relationships, and they are happier overall and healthier. So let's pause here for just a minute, and let me introduce a concept to you. You may have heard it before. It's not new. But there's a concept known as an ecosystem versus an ecosystem. The ecosystem is something the marketing engine of the world tries to turn you into. That it's about me, it's about my ego, it's about my safety, my protection. But the world around us and these beautiful metaphors and truths about ecosystems teach us something else. Ecosystem, as you know, is a compound word. The prefix comes from the Greek oikos, which means the whole house. What happens when ecosystems kill ecosystems is collective problems that nobody wants. Think of the irony. By focusing on myself and making my ecosystem the important one, and not considering the oikos, or the whole house, the oiko or ecosystem, we then collectively create social and global problems that individually not a single person would raise their hand to participate in. I have no doubt that you can think of several examples. Social divisiveness, breakdowns in the way we're treating even our planet or how we view that planet. Those are broken by ecosystems. From the beginning of this company, we have said ego and economic drive cannot and should not trump or override true principles. And I am teaching you true principles right now. Do you agree? In every one of these examples that we saw in the opening video, what do you notice? Do you see individuals? Yes. Do you see something collective happening in a beautiful synchronicity? I see movement. And plural, I see movements. Whether in dance, in metronomes, in fish or bees, whether in beautiful people paddling out to a place to honor the dead, or us gathering here, or even families, synchronized movement towards a common goal. I would like to rerun the opening video for you. Sit quietly and soak on this concept of moving from me to we. Let's roll it. You might be interested to know that our good friend who joined us last year, William Joseph, literally scored that film for us. Thank you, William. Allow me just to make sure this soaks in. We're going to talk about powering potential, But this is what we need to understand. We will never fully power potential until we truly understand the power of we. That means how you treat each other matters. That means what you say about each other matters. What you put out matters. Because you are either building an ecosystem that is closed and inward, or you are investing in an ecosystem. Those ecosystems and the beautiful metaphors you just saw literally create their own sensory capacity. They respond to their environment together. That having been said, you might have noticed at the end of that video a beautiful choir singing in a beautiful setting on a beach. There have been studies that have been done that as a choir sings together, their hearts syncopate and beat together. Now, if you think about it, it makes sense. Really good choirs know exactly when to breathe and when not to breathe. And as a result, what happens is individuality becomes unity. As they breathe together and engage their diaphragm and their vocal cords in a beautiful way, their hearts begin to beat together. Emotional response begins to occur, and literally, this is not metaphorically, physiologically, their hearts begin to beat as one. Now, you know that I love music, and I really wanted to start this event with emotion before information. I wanted you to feel that we must be one in order to move forward, synchronized movement towards a common goal is what you've just seen. There's always a beautiful reflective time when I'm considering convention and what I might be able to share with you that could come from the heart. Some of my favorite memories are sitting still and quietly or volleying with close friends and partners who understand these beautiful nuanced principles. I shared with a dear friend who's helping to produce this event, Russ Dixon, this is what I was feeling. And we started to ideate on the images and the language and the feeling. And then we looked at each other and said, we need to write a song. As we started thinking about this, now I've collaborated with him on other songs in the past for this setting. As we started talking about the power of we started talking about the hero's journey that leaves and almost dies, that me dies, and then turns into the other. Attention moves off of self and ecosystem and into full ecosystems. Russ looked at me and said, I hope I can get a singer that's coming to my mind who shared a very personal story with him of a personal journey. Now, it was a long shot, but we reached out to Fraser Walters. Some of you may know Fraser. Fraser is a co-founding member of the Canadian Tenors, later known as the Tenors. Let me give you a little sense of what I'm talking about here. Fraser has performed at Buckingham Palace and the Windsor Castle for the Queen's Jubilee, celebrating her birthday. He's performed with Oprah Winfrey and with Celine Dion on Oprah Winfrey. He's performed all over the world and has a resume that would make all of you double blink, and told me all of that was to prepare him for today. Now, I need to make one more distinction, and then I'll bring him out, and I'm going to step away and allow him to do what he does so beautifully. I need you to know that when Fraser got a feeling of what it was we were trying to communicate today, he no longer wanted simply to perform it. He offered and spent several hours on Zoom calls. He's from New York, and joined in the process of writing the song with me and Russ and William Joseph and himself. And we argued and we arm wrestled and we vibed on words and how it needed to feel and what was the message. And he would come back after a restless night and say, this word needs to change. It was a beautiful demonstration of collaborative we. So I'd like to bring Fraser out. I'm going to give them a quick hug and step back. Please enjoy this song, which is called The Power of We. Fraser, come on out. Thank you. Just go.
My eyes were closed. I could not see how blind I had become in a world with only me. I spent my whole life searching for what was seeking me. That we are here to believe in each other, and we are born to belong and become, and we can only know what we are when we lift and love someone. I'm finally starting to see the power of we. I traveled far and faced my shadow, then a light within my heart was calling me to follow. The more I live these moments, the more I come to know that we are here to believe in each other, and we are born to belong and become, and we can only know what we are when we lift and love someone. I'm finally starting to see the power of we. I had to give it all away, got lost to come home. Now I see the gift in every day, and now I'm coming home. We are here to believe in each other, and we are born to belong and become. If you are able, please stand with us. And we are here to believe in each other, and we are born to belong and become, and we can only know what we are when we lift and love someone. All right, let's hear you. I'm finally starting to see. This is our gift to receive, 'cause we are born to believe. We are born to believe the power of we. Thank you so much. Let's do a bow.
What do you think?
Give it up for the choir. And these amazing musicians. Thank you, guys.
I need to thank Fraser one more time. He is performing with the Vancouver Symphony.
That's right.
This weekend. By the way, she's been a duet singer with Sting.
Yeah, Andrea Bocelli, Josh Groban, Michael Bolton, and somehow I convinced her to marry me.
Yeah. Well, we're anxious to see the children you create.
They're out there. We've got a 7-year-old, 4-year-old, and 1-year-old. It's awesome at home right now.
I need to thank you for taking the time to invest in the writing process, not just performing it. It changed the way I felt. It changed the way we felt. And so please, I just want to ask you to thank him one more time for stopping by. Love you, bro. Thank you. Okay, have we successfully landed on we? Like when you guys are waving your phones and all together, like do you feel like, okay, we're at we? All right, let's not forget it. Let's get into this side of it now. Let's start talking about the promise that we make to other people, but not forgetting that front end of we. What about power? Everything you're going to see here in the next couple, 2-3 days is about powering you. In fact, I want you to hear this from me. We are 100% committed to empowering you. Actually, everything we do at this company is done for you. Perhaps at times you may not feel like it's done as much with you, and we need to improve on that, and we're going to show you some things we're trying to do there. But I promise you, we all go to work every day with a goal to empower you. Those of you that are students of this industry can see there are lots of companies that are not focusing as much or even at all anymore on you. I see early, what I call distant early warnings, indications that the industry is trying to make sense of where they are. Companies that are creating whole subsidiaries and basically going around you. Listen to me carefully. We will not. The only way we will go out to this marketplace is we will go together. I hope you understand the depth and gravity of what that commitment really means. It means we have to get this we part right because we're in this together. Now, at ASEA, I've had the joy and pleasure for many years of using the pronoun we with this good gentleman. And as you know, as of Friday of last week, Chuck has now graduated to a founding executive, which means he's from the very beginning involved, and my vice chairman. Unfortunately for him, that points to continued engagement with me. But I can say to you this, Chuck is not leaving us. He's simply moving to another chapter. I would be remiss if I didn't say to him how thankful I feel to be able to say we and know that he's part of that, not just in the past, but moving forward. Now, today's a big day. We have a new we leader, and that's Scott Aldred. Scott, are you out here somewhere, or are you out in back? He might be in the back getting ready. I'm grateful for these two good leaders and what they represent for our future moving forward, empowering your potential. Now, who was in Nashville with us 2 years ago? Almost exactly 2 years ago. Okay. In Nashville, almost 2 years ago, we put up this sign. In fact, Jerem, who is here, Jerem, where are you? We love you. Jerem put this sign up. There he is right there. Say hi to Jerem. Jerem, stand up and say hi to everybody. Jerem put up a presentation that was called the Next Level Roadmap. In this roadmap, you'll notice there were 4 dimensions of the business. The bottom was the associate experience. Up from there was foundational branding and message, products and science, and ultimately an objective to do better at customer acquisition. You can see the exponential curve kind of pointing to the idea of a roadmap. And there were several deliverables that we were saying 2 years ago we aimed to deliver to empower you. Now, there's an order to these, there's a flow, and it's important that you track with me on this because it tells the story of why we're going to discuss what we will discuss here today, but it also kind of proves the journey as well. We needed to start with the very first one here in yellow, foundational branding and messaging. It was literally foundational. We had to get this amplified and expanded. To be honest, our foundational messaging was just molecules. And in order to go where we needed to go, we needed to think differently. We engaged in over 40 meetings with really, really capable players from a Manhattan agency. I don't expect you to read this. But we built an entire overhaul of the brand. Now, this doesn't mean just images. It means everything. Language, even the very promise of our brand, which is to power potential. What's the visual identity? What's the brand strategy? How shall we message? Notice journey together towards our greatest potential. This is the language that informs how we want to approach positioning ourselves to both customers and new associates. This work was done, and I'm giving us a check mark if you agree. We needed to get that first. We then pivoted and said, now that we have the branding right, we've got to update this really old website. And so we went out, spent the time and energy, and you'll notice that same branding, look and feel and messaging now finds expression in an entirely new global website. Now, why do I show you this? Because I want you to know this is not easy. Now multiply this by 33 markets and umpteen languages. Those of you in the global markets, we are working on these in your markets. This is now live, as many of you know or should know, in the North American markets, English-speaking markets. But I want you to see this new global website is filled with aligned imagery with that foundational brand, with messaging that speaks to powering potential, and a look and feel that certainly does not feel like the 2010s. It feels like we're in the 2020s where we belong. Do you agree? Okay, good. That global website is now finished. If you are with me, I'll check that box. Now, the branding enabled us to say, we've got to do a better job. Our customer experience is clunky. Our associate enrollment is clunky. But with this branding and with this messaging, we could now look at associate experience. In other words, you. We could zoom in and say, is the shopping experience really well? And so we set out with a new e-commerce shopping experience, a new shareable shopping cart. How many of you like the shareable shopping cart? And we also leaned into the new associate enrollment experience needing to be streamlined. That new associate enrollment experience, right, as you've seen, is tied back to that foundational branding. You can see it right on the page, and really has streamlined the enrollments. Are you pleased with the improvements to the enrollment experience? They're better, right? That was a little soft, thank you. That kind of hurt, but that's okay. We're together, it's a we thing. I do want you to know that those changes are available in all open markets. Europe being the last one to go live this week. So shareable cart, e-commerce shopping experience, new enrollment experience, those are all live. Yeah, you can clap. It's a lot of work. I want you to see, though, that as we check this first column, that was just a beginning. Remember, I'm now speaking from Nashville 2 years ago in September, literally 2 years ago this month. We then said to you we wanted to open up and expand a product portfolio. There's really good reasons for this, not just one. And so we set out to launch into redox-related and powered by redox product sets. We brought to bear cell performance. Are you liking cell performance? And as you've seen, and we'll hear more about today, we've expanded the cell performance line now with Radiance. These 4 products are power-packed, and we love the response we're getting from them, and hope you do too. Now, I want you to see something here. Beneath the cell performance line, I indicate to you that the whole point of this was to provide lower price, easy to feel and see a difference, easy to share, impulse buy products. I think you would agree with me that ASEA redox cell signaling supplement at times feels pricey to a general customer. is not always quick to easy feel a sense of difference, takes a little time, may be more difficult to share, and frankly takes a little more consideration at times. We wanted to empower our associates with products that would be on-ramps to the broader Redox technology. Does that make sense? So we wanted to give you something lower price, easy to share, that would help you in growing your business. Now, whether you're the hugest fan or not of these products, don't obsess over that. The goal was just to broaden this out a little bit so we could move into new phases of growth. And I'm going to talk more about this in just a minute. I'm checking that box if you agree that we delivered on those new products and we love them. We also wanted to upgrade skincare, actually for the very same reasons. The new skincare line continues to get rave reviews. I will submit to you, we're not selling enough of it. It's really, really good product. Do you love it? I only have one daughter and 5 boys. I have 6 kids. I know a product's good when my daughter asks me for it. She comes to the house and says, "Do you have more of this or this?" That tells me something. I've yet to see a person, Jerem was telling me about his daughters as well. We're seeing people that really like this and want it, and we did that on purpose. Why? Well, from these beautiful images you can see, I think it's a world-class set. We added clay mask this year, right? You're going to hear more about that, including when these products are hitting global markets here later this morning. But the clay mask product kind of appends to this same concept. Lower price point, easy to feel, easy to share, see a difference, feel a difference, puts us in a different place to have communication. Would you agree we can check that box? Now remember, where are we in this discussion? We're 2 years ago, we're in Nashville. We're laying out a roadmap for the future to you 2 years ago. We then said we will continue to invest in redox research. How many were at the science meeting yesterday? I heard it was a great win. As you learned yesterday, and I'll make sure everyone here knows, we continue with projects in tandem with very reputable universities around the world, working with several different scientists who are committed and interested in redox research. I can tell you right now, we are finding out things we've never known in 14 years. And it foreshadows a potential, to go back to this promise, that if you really knew about, you would be so dialed in right now getting ready for what's coming, because it's coming. I sound like Deion Sanders. We're coming. So can I check this box? We're making progress in research. You with me? Now notice this. All of this was kind of pointing us to that upper hex in the top right that said, how do we go to a new level? How do we really elevate? If we have an improved and better comprehensive foundational brand, improve the website, streamline some of our customer and shopping experiences and enrollment, add product lines that make it easier to get people onto the on-ramp of Redox and then into our core technology products, and continue to invest in research, what were we aiming at in Nashville? We were saying to you that we wanted to launch a new approach to help you acquire customers. This is an important thing, whether you see it or not. It has multiple dimensions of value, and we will continue. I want everything you're going to see today is a beginning to a process. But as we zoom in on this last piece, we wanted to get to a place to launch customer acquisition. Now, I need to confess, this is on me and no one else. We told you we would have that done 10 months ago. And we underestimated all the work it would take to get us to today. So you'll notice on Nashville's stage, we said we should have that ready by late last year. And here we sit in Q3, now finally feeling like we're in a position to do this. When Jerem presented this, he pulled a call-out box together and said, what does this really mean? It means we want to launch a new approach to increase just organic customer acquisition, making it easier for you to engage with a customer. And notice this line, and empower you, our associates, so that you can build a stronger customer base. I need to be clear, this was something we signaled 2 years ago. So we've been working on this, and as you can see from the check boxes, we've made progress, and now we're here. In a way, I think of it this way. If we hadn't done foundational branding, along with new global website, new enrollments in the shareable shopping cart experience, new product set, an enhanced Renew Advanced, and the research, we wouldn't be ready. But guess what? We have. Took us a little longer than we thought, but we have. And we're ready to launch this. Now, if it gives you some anxiety, let me give you a metaphor to make it feel really good. Here's the metaphor. We are simply adding a lane. We are adding a lane to the superhighway of our company. Whether or not you change lanes is called a preference that you get to decide. We see forward enough into the future that this freeway is going to get crowded if we don't add lanes. So we're adding lanes. Question, are we getting off the freeway? Nope, we're adding lanes. Are we taking a turn off that we're going to be bummed about and go on a different freeway? Nope, same direction. So those of you in the room, as you see all this, relax. You don't have to become superheroes in this. It's just a new lane. If you're killing it, doing really well in the lane you're in, guess what? Stay in your lane. But I think the world is changing enough that what you're going to see today in this launch is really important for us to embrace and become more familiar with, because I don't think it's going away. I think it's going to be really important. I appreciated Jerem and I having a conversation about this, and we were saying how important it was for us to say, this vision is about you. We want to empower you so you can share products in a new way. You can attract customers into the business in a new way. There were 3 components that we volleyed on, and we've been talking about this for years, guys. What is happening today is like literally the inauguration or the dedication of a building that's been under construction for years. And what we said is it needs to be improved, short, compelling, shareable product content, marketing content, including product pages that were not designed for information. They were designed to help a person make a buying decision. There's very different psychology in just going to a website that's offering you information versus engineering a product page that takes a person down a consideration journey towards a purchase. Then we said, and this was a big one too, we needed it to be easier for people to shop and easier for people to check out. Do you agree? Our hope then is if we could build more customers, we could immerse them into we and who we are, and ultimately identify kind of like the old show Star Search. When you'd be looking for that 1 star, maybe there's a customer that just naturally starts to share and does a really good job. Let's build them into an associate leader. Now, should you stay in the lane of growing and enrolling associates? Please, yes. Do not pivot from that core business opportunity and action. But what happens if we can open up the top of this net and the funnel and allow more people to expose themselves to us? Okay, another way to think about this is really simple. What happens if you have world-class, compelling content and you could marry it up with a state-of-the-art delivery system that would then help you reach real, true, organic customer growth, where it's easier, it happens more naturally. Would you be interested in that if we could do it? Okay, well, let's take these individually. Let's start with world-class, compelling content. About a year ago, we decided to rethink how marketing and technology were working at ASEA. Kind of felt like we were dislocated. I didn't really feel like we were hitting a bullseye for you. Trust me, I got lots of emails saying we were not hitting a bullseye. In fact, we weren't even hitting a target. That hurt, but we're all together. But you were right. We needed to listen to you more carefully. And we started to rethink, should we create a new department and name that department user experience? Get ourselves out of the tower and thinking about what we think you need or want, and actually engage a group of professionals, both internally and externally to the company, that could then start bringing in a new wave of content that had a user bias to it. Does that make sense? Are you guys okay? Is everybody okay in this room? Like, I'm throwing out killer stuff. Starting to worry. Do you want to breathe with me? Like, just breathe. Everybody do it through your nose. I'm just a little worried about you. You good? Because I'm good. Like, I could do this a long time without any bio breaks. Like, I'm excited. Okay, you're hanging. Okay, we're with each other. We brought a group of people together. We merged real deep technical understanding of our company with good, solid marketing awareness. Brought in some additional people and started reaching outside the company to expertise that knew things and had competencies we just flat out did not have. The name of that department is now called User Experience. And I'd like to invite to this stage the Senior Vice President of User Experience to walk you through this world-class, compelling content. And by the way, she arm wrestled with me. She did not want to get on this stage, so you better be nice and make her feel love. Tammy Phillips, our Senior VP.